like with all of the famous people that have come out of TikTok and, you know, that culture around it today, do you think that it would still be what it is today?
So I think that TikTok would still definitely be a popular app that a lot of people used regularly, but I don't think that it would have as much sway over people's everyday lives. I feel like it would be something that maybe was much more like personal creation based. And I know that there are a lot of, you know, people that I have in my friend groups that do like making TikTok videos, but I feel like it would be a social media app that was more about them and what they created. I feel like because of the pandemic though, a lot of people use TikTok as a means to consume social media more than they would be more prone to create it. And so I think that there would be more of a balance between like smaller users creating and consuming rather than just mostly consuming, taking trends out of that, incorporating it into their daily life. I feel like it wouldn't have had that much sway.
And further, if the pandemic hadn't happened, do you think that you yourself would engage with TikTok in the same way that you do in terms of the content that you see, the content that you maybe create, the types of videos you watch, the way you use it with friends and engage with people?
So if there hadn't have been pandemic, I don't think that I would have gotten into TikTok for a long time, just because I had plenty of friends that had TikTok before the pandemic hit. I had plenty of personal influences who were showing me this app and that they enjoyed it, and I still necessarily didn't feel the need to download it. And I guess this goes back to what we were talking about with maybe having all this extra time and being bored about downloading the app in the first place. But before the pandemic, I just didn't feel the need. I saw it as something that was going to be a time waster, because even though I thought, well, I might enjoy this, I feel like it's easy to get sucked into, and then suddenly a couple hours have gone away.
And it is.
And now, like, I can see that now. Like, it definitely has. I spend so much more time on TikTok than my other social media apps now. And, like, I was right. Like, it is so easy to get pulled into an app like this, where I'm not really having to select the media that I see with the For You page. It's already selected it for you. So it's so easy to just swipe through it. Whereas it's not something that I have to actively search for or find.
And so do you feel that is a sentiment with other college students our age who, you know, or your age, who didn't enter college with that TikTok being a popular platform, but the pandemic kind of hit? Do you see that as a sentiment of other people your age?
I definitely think that there is a pattern there that correlates with the pandemic, that I have, you know, plenty of peers who maybe would not have downloaded the app at all otherwise, or maybe would not have been encouraged to create any of the videos that they see now, that where they're recreating trends or anything like that, that they would not have ever felt encouraged to do that, or to put themselves out there in that way, that it's not just a quick picture of what they were doing, but it's actually personal content that they're putting out onto a platform that shares something about themselves. And so I definitely think that the pandemic changed that people have changed their view a little bit about what it means to have social media and to have a more personal side of it as well.
And so coming, you know, out of the pandemic, more things are opening up. We're back on campus and we're all kind of together on campus. We are face to face with each other. Do you see the effects of TikTok on campus, and do you see it as a positive thing, a negative thing for yourself and for other college students?
So I think, you know, in an obvious way, that there are plenty of trends, quotes, funny sayings that people incorporate into their daily life from TikTok. But I also see, you know, the effect in this, you know, also comes from just being in a pandemic, in lockdown, but that people use social media more, specifically TikTok more, to connect to people around them than they might have otherwise, where it may not be as focused on in-person connections anymore, but about what you can connect with people about ahead of time. Maybe before, you're starting a new club, you connect to these people who you think might be interested in it with these videos showing emotional videos that are intended to connect the audience to that club, to incite them to join. Whereas before it may have just been an informational post on Instagram or Facebook or something, but now it's more about personal experience, and those connections are forged ahead of time, ahead of the in-person meeting.
And so do you see the effects of TikTok on college campuses as like a positive and negative thing for college students in general?
I wouldn't necessarily label it as either positive or negative. I feel like, as with any social media, there's going to be positive and negative effects. I feel like it's positive in the way that people are more comfortable being more authentic on a social media app than what they would have been comfortable with before, but there's definitely also negative side effects about people isolating themselves on their phones and not being as willing or wanting to participate in things in person, as well as becoming more focused on what their social media image looks like when you've added another platform into that tier of apps that people use every single day.
All right, and lastly, do you think that TikTok in general has changed the culture around student life in college today?
I would say it's definitely changed it in a way, like I've been saying, with how we make connections with other people. I've seen plenty of examples, just coming back into this semester alone, how people use the app more, not only, to maybe show off other aspects of their life, but to create a sense of knowing someone through that rather than having that connection being made in person. So I think overall, as a student body, that a lot of people use an app like TikTok to have, people to make these connections with other people, have other people have those connections, make it feel like it's more personal with them through these apps, and have those connections be made ahead of time in a virtual setting.
And do you think it would that would be the same sentiment if the pandemic hadn't happened?
No, I don't think people would be as in the habit of following that process and following those steps. I feel like it might be subconscious for a lot of people, but that they don't realize that they're doing it, that they're making these connections ahead of time, and that they see that as a process of how they connect with their peers, and that goes ahead of the in-person connections.
All right, thank you. That's all I got for you.